Hey everybody, it's me, Matt Rogers, letting you know tickets are on sale now to see me on tour. The Prince of Christmas tour, that is. I'm doing my whole album, Have You Heard of Christmas, plus a lot more with the whole band all throughout December. Go to www.mattrogersofficial.com to see me in a city near you. And now, Las Cultch. Drums.
Look, man.
Where?
Oh, I see.
Wow, oh my. Bowen, look over there.
Wow, is that culture? Yes.
My goodness.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah. Las Culturistas.
Ding dong, Las Culturistas calling.
I mean, it's a new era.
And what do you mean by that?
Christmas!
Oh.
It's officially...
It's officially the holidays.
the holidays. That's a fun spin on everything that's happened. It's holidays now.
Do you think that the Christmas spirit can thrive under fascism?
You know, that's an Well, the thing is, we're not officially in fascism yet. We still have
But you know, some
hard
people might
Christmas
argue with you. Your Noam Chomsky's might say, "Oh, we've always been under we've been in fascism for so long." Which is, God, what a terrible rancid tone to start this episode.
What are we gonna do when you look around and the world's on fire? What are you gonna say? Like, ooh, like pass me my iced tea.
That's what we're meant to do as entertainers sometimes. is pass the iced tea.
Is that, hey, pass me the iced tea? I mean, it's a complicated thing, people. It's our first episode recording since the election. Obviously, want to, express to everyone out there that is feeling terrible that, we are all in it together. Lots of avalanche of reasons why this may have happened. It's kind of neither here nor there. Certainly not going to get into it here on this episode.
No, certainly not.
But just if you're feeling...
Although we have the greatest political minds in one room.
Yeah.
I'm looking around and everyone
here has something
has something to contribute to the solution. I mean it.
We just want to say, if you're feeling down, that you have a hug from us. And
always. And I really appreciate you saying that, Matt, about being in this together. I think this is an easy time for people to start to go for individualism and say, well, as long as I'm taken care of, then it's the best I can do. And that's true and that's important. But also, I think I was talking to someone like a week before, just being like, God, but what if it happens? And then we were saying, like, I think the best thing to do is just to be there for each other, which sounds so
community.
It sounds so like, I don't know, saccharine, but I think it really is the only thing.
I think it's actually kind of time to think about things in a way like that, to be honest, because again, more to come later when it feels like appropriate and things have died down a little bit, but community is going to be the way, and maybe some unexpected community. And
if you're in New York, New York Cares, great thing to do just in terms of like a spirit of volunteerism. I really enjoy the few times that I've done something New York Cares related, but it was during lockdown and it was kind of like the only thing that made me feel good.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start doing that again.
Tiny, beautiful things.
Tiny, beautiful things. And we have a tiny, beautiful person.
Tiny, beautiful, but here's the thing. Big, gorgeous talent.
Oh, of course.
A front runner for title of ep.
Big, gorgeous talent.
She's pointing to her talents.
She's cupping her talent.
I have a confession to make. When I heard about Once Upon a Mattress being revived, I was a little bit like, really? And I kind of was like, I didn't really like, because it's one of those shows where I'm like, I just was surprised to hear that was getting revived. I went to go see it. A delight from start to finish.
It is one of our great, joyful shows. My first musical that I ever did in high school.
Really?
I was the jester's understudy. I had to learn the choreography for Very Soft Shoes. And I know every song word for word.
This is important to know.
Yeah. No, I mean, sensitivity is...
Oh, it's great.
A+. Villain song.
I think I just forgot how delightful it is, and combined with this really amazing,
incredible cast. New book by Amy Sherman
Palladino, who just like punched it up for all it's worth. I mean, it's so funny. Ugh. It's like really just like from start to finish, a great time at the theater. Here's the thing: it has a couple more weeks on Broadway
at the Hudson Theater
when this comes out, and then from December 10th to January 5th, you can see it at the Amundsen in Los Angeles. This would be well worth your time.
Absolutely.
And it stars our guest who, among other things, is also Christmas royalty.
Christmas royalty.
Oh, I talked about this with her, actually.
Of course.
If Mariah's the queen of Christmas and I'm the prince, we're actually speaking with the Duchess of Christmas, self-appointed. The only way to gain royalty in Christmas is to self-appoint. And
That's
so
true.
this person has done it, and we're so grateful and happy.
Sugar and Booze, at this point, I would say it's in the canon of great Christmas albums.
It's in the canon.
Truly. She is going to do a few cities at the beginning of December. Lansing, Evanston, Illinois, Indianapolis. Please catch her. It's what a sublime time that will be.
Of course, you know and love her from being a true SNL legend. I mean, one of the greats of all time. We are absolutely fucking thrilled to welcome to this podcast the one, the only, Anna Gasteyer! Yay!
It's
Can you imagine when's gonna come the point where she comes out and does it and it sounds like that? We're like, oh no.
It drops down like 4 octaves. It's
time. But it is time.
It is time. Hi, thank you for mentioning my my Christmas
title?
Yes, my
Your
title.
status.
Thank you, my
Your
title.
honorific.
My honorific. Thank you for so much.
Okay. Self-appointed Duchess. There's a court we have to fill out, or there's a whole feudal system
Yes,
of Christmas
correct.
people.
Right.
Correct. But I feel like I've earned it. I mean, I'm best known for Sweaty Balls at
Yes.
SNL, which it runs in the Christmas episode.
Yes,
Martha
yes.
Stewart's Topless Christmas.
Yes.
Then I wrote Clusterfunk Christmas, which was the Hallmark parody movie with Dratch.
Yes.
And lots of things have happened around holiday time. It's my favorite time of year.
Did you seek out this Christmas canon status, or do you think it happened happy accident?
A good fit for for my value system, if that makes
Yes,
sense.
yes.
Not to say that I'm like really obsessed with Jesus's birthday as much as I do have a little bit of an old-fashioned traditional side.
Do you?
And just sort of more in like the domestic part and the kind of, actually oddly referring to what you were talking even post-election, the sort of coziness and the I love to cook and I love throwing parties and I love kind of domestic connection. And I do think that the holidays kind of allows us a little bit of an old-fashioned broad kind of a moment. And that's why the album felt so important to do, not just to like make a Christmas album, but rather that it fit kind of my style. You can be sort of throwbacky in a way that doesn't feel as kitschy or as annoying to people.
Yes.
Well, that's the thing. I feel like the cocktail lounge jazz aesthetic of Sugar and Booze is that it's like the wink is so pretty, and like that's such a nice sort of like comedy sensibility about it.
That was sort of what we went for. Like, just it should feel like an old-fashioned album, but not campy or not like kitschy, I guess is the word. Like avoiding kitsch and making it more like my biggest compliment that I like was so excited by was the LA Times reviewed it. They said like Frank and Dino would have wanted to sing this song, which to me was like, as opposed to just like someone doing a lounge act like you're saying, you know, it feels a little more somewhere in between. You know? And you're a real vocalist too, so it's like your Christmas stuff definitely resonates in that way as well. There's a coziness to the holidays, you know. There's a reason they play the standards at Banana Republic when you go in, you know. So that's
the most Christmas place of all.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a cozy Christmas vibe.
Hashtag dream board that. Right?
Wait, J. Crew is they kind of nail the Christmas
They
vibe.
love Christmas. I have so many of my I'm trying to get clothes. That's why I'm saying this right now. But I wear a lot of I always end up buying a lot of J. Crew to wear in my show.
It really, honestly, you walk in J. Crew, it's hard to leave empty-handed.
Oh, it is.
Because you want to know what? Coziness, which is really what this is really about. If we're not saying the word cozy, but it's about being cozy.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
It's huge.
Hygge? Are we talking about
Hygge? Sure.
So that's a placement thing. But Hygge is all
And it's
Hygge.
placed here, right between the eyes.
Well, I think anyone Scandinavian would place it right here. Yeah, in their upper.
Which is really a hard place to find.
Hard place to find. Now, are you on this sort of within your coterie of SNL people? Like, I feel like everyone is obsessed with Iceland newly because of Polar.
Oh yeah,
she's loving Iceland. Is the last time I spoke to her, she was like,
she
I think are y'all going to Iceland or Scandinavia in general?
That you said that. I mean, it's not high on our list.
You should go.
I do want to see. I mean, we're always sort of debating because we have these like reunions. The girls have all these reunions, and so we're always debating. You know, there's an East Coast, West Coast kind of conversation, and different places come up depending on what's happening. I mean, at the moment, I think everybody's just gonna, try to have dinner in New York together.
Right. Oh, that's nice. Okay, who's holding it down on the East Coast right now? It's you, Tina.
Me, Tina, Paula.
Dratch.
Paula lives up in Westchester.
Yes, with her a million Breastchester, with her a million
dogs on
animals.
wheels.
Yeah, her dog's on wheels.
She just got another wheeled dog. The best. She like zooms around the apartment, that house. Yes, and Polar's here part of the time, and then Maya's in LA, and Spivey's up in North Carolina. So down in North Carolina. Yeah, so we sort of float. But.
What's been the best vacation you guys have taken together?
Was Dratch 50 was what Wine Country's based on? No.
Yeah, Wine Country was really fantastic. I mean, it was actually in Wine Country, and we ate and drank to our heart's contents, and literally the whole movie. It was basically is what we did. And then we like our night at the strip club was just like a antique mall. Everybody's like, oh, look at this teapot. And then. We went for my birthday. We did Palm Springs, and everybody wore really old fashioned. We wore muumuus, and we wore really old fashioned bathing caps that I bought everybody on the internet, and I made everybody wear gentle, don't ruin your hair swims.
Yeah. That is an important image. The hair up, like okay, neck up.
Yeah.
Totally neck up. But lately we've done more cozy things. We've gone to Fire Island, or we've gone to to
fun.
people's.
Where do you go? Fair Harbor.
It's basically Saltaire.
Saltaire.
Fair Harbor area. Yeah.
Gay audience, these are the
not fun gay parts.
Areas.
They're not. I get a lot of gay cred when I say Fire Island, and then it immediately evaporates by the vague white supremacy of my area.
Don't worry. No, you should take the gay cred.
I try.
Also, you have plenty from so many
life?
things from your life.
Yeah, I try.
You're an alphabet, for God's
before
sake.
I go any further, my daughter said to tell you, and I quote, on air, that she's a huge fan, and so are all her gay friends.
Hello!
But I wasn't going to get credit if I
gays.
said it off air. She was like, you have to tell them on air.
So I guess that she's a Katie.
Yes, I believe.
That's
yes.
I would imagine.
Yes.
So.
Of course. And a Katie is kind
Katie
of...
has a lot of gay friends.
Has a lot of gay friends.
So we have some subsects of our fandom, and Katie's.
She's a Katie.
I believe a Katie would be like me and all my gay friends love it.
I don't know how she could be my child and not be a Katie.
Well,
of course,
because I have a number of husbands, which is G''H.
Sure. Who's the top husband?
My top husband's my friend Tony, who I've lived with on and off, who's my first director at the Groundlings. My actual husband named him my husband because I lived with him throughout a bunch of TV shows I did in LA.
Yes.
Great.
Because as you know, everybody in LA has like a second bedroom. So I for years just had pajamas and things there. So people have more space. My next husband is my friend Ryan, who is what was the name of that character? It's too old to reference. That Murphy Brown, that guy that lived in her house and did all her work.
Gosh.
He's like my carpenter. He's a former Broadway boy, now super talented contractor.
Yeah.
And he helps me fix up Fire Island. He does my IKEA run and my Costco run with me.
Yeah.
He's really done a lot for my actual marriage with my straight husband.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Did you acquire a lot of Guzbins and Guzman types during your run as Elphaba?
I mean, I've always had Guzmans.
You've always had
life,
but you didn't need to be Elphaba to have Guzmans.
No, but it certainly helped.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yes, as soon as the news of the belting got out, my gay queue went way up.
I do remember like loving you forever on Saturday Night Live, and then hearing that you were belting on Broadway as Elphaba did make something like your shoulders drop as a gay person.
Yeah, it was a relief.
Oh, okay.
It was a relief, and she can support.
It was
she
a
can
relief.
sustain, and she does vibrato at the end. Yeah, all of those things got me very far. A long straight tone with a little vibrato at the end.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
it took me a second, but I'm like, yeah.
I mean, that's it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, the sketch that really hooked me when I moved to the US was Gemini's Twin.
Oh my God, thank you.
And
Gemini's
the
Twin's
line
major.
read that even rang in my ears
Oh, no,
today.
oh, no.
No, you're gonna love it.
I'll be canceled.
It was whack, the girl's a big man, the flapjack, and then at one point, this is the Charlize Theron
Whack,
episode.
whack.
This is like the first episode of
I have some
SNL I
stories.
ever saw.
Oh my God.
And then you had a line where someone's Carson Daly, it's TRL, and then they're like, what's the song about? And then Maya has a line. It's about or Maya or Charlize has a line. It's about like when you're done with a man, and then it's you, and you say,
Oh no.
it's also about a pancake breakfast.
It's about a what?
It's also about a
Pancake
pancake breakfast.
Because wasn't it like flapjack?
Flapjack, whack, flapjack.
Pancake
It's
breakfast.
also about a pancake
It's
breakfast.
also about a pancake breakfast. And like that, I belly laughed as a
so
fucking
stupid.
80. It's the funniest line.
I wish that they would, they never re-air any of it's one of the, one of my great sadnesses because music rates are so expensive.
yeah.
So many of my sketches don't re-air
God,
in a regular
wow.
way, and which is sad because, we wrote so many dumb things. and Gemini's twin, like we wrote this ridiculous thing with Lucy Liu about airline safety.
And that's my favorite Gemini's twin because Lucy Liu at one point bends over and like kind of fingers her own crotch.
It's so dirty.
It was so shocking.
And I don't remember, it was about airplane. I think it was about airplane safety. Yeah. I don't even remember what it was about. And then we did one with Pierce Brosnan. That all I remember. Oh, it was actually good. I need a man. I need a man. I need a. God, it was so dumb. It was like with a something credit card and a Central Pay 10. I need a man. It was a real man. It was a man. Anyway, he for some reason we did like a Frankenstein. This is a bad story. You should just watch it. But it doesn't air because of the music rights. He had like
you can find it.
Somebody sent it to me. He's doing like a Frankenstein thing. Oh yeah, because we were turning him. We were like Dr. Eviling it. And I don't even remember what the premise was, but I remember that I remember writing for him like he was like, I'm alive, I'm all up in it, alive. It was so dumb. Anyway,
but why are the music rights so tricky with that when it's like an original song?
I don't know. Because I know
ASCAP rights or whatever, but the Britney Spears one too.
I think that was super politically incorrect. Didn't we do like a Dixie number?
It was but it was like
it was like we were on. You
guys worked on you guys worked on like Monticello or something.
Yeah. Oh,
that's
Monticello.
What it was.
I thought it was more like
or
Gone with the Wind kind of vibes.
Or maybe it was. It
might have been Tara. It might have been.
It was Tara.
I don't remember, but I was so. Yeah, it was so fun because it was Maya. I mean, it was again like those those nights with Maya and with like Will on Bobby and Marty were like those are my most like truly treasured nights because they were James Anderson and Paula Pell and like the greats. I mean, and I'm a terrible procrastinator. We would stay up. Bobby and Marty, we were like super famous. Like when people would start something late, they would be like, no, I mean famous for how much we dicked around. Where they would be like, we're Bobby and Martying it, like starting at 6 or whatever. It was just because we would sit and do bits and talk.
Yeah.
Light farts, like all of the worst, until like 4 a.m. Oh,
wow. We're talking about 6 a.m. on Wednesday.
On Wednesday.
Holy moly.
All the way up to the line. And then we would write it. And then many times we would go to McDonald's and get an Egg McMuffin on the way home at like 8. Or often because Will famously, so this is another, Will dressed as Jerry Reed from the Smokey and the Bandit series. Okay, bear with me.
Please.
So Norm Macdonald and Will did Burt Reynolds. It was the Burt Reynolds. They were writing to the Burt Reynolds impression at the time, and they did these Smokey and the Bandit commercials. And Will, it was like a pre-tape, and Will was dressed as Jerry Reed, but he had to keep going into blocking, and so he never got out of his outfit of Jerry Reed, which just was like not famous, like a 70s trucker costume, basically, like really like kind of high bad pants and like a Western thing and a big trucker hat. And it was like a bit, and somebody was like, "Are you not gonna ever change out of that?" And so then he didn't, and it became this like, what's the term? Like a bell, like a lightning rod, like a thing where you could tell who was fun and who wasn't. By who would be like certain people in the front office were like, "Why are you still wearing that outfit?"
Yeah.
Like and meanwhile he was just like, "I'm gonna wear this all season." So he proceeded to wear it from before. It was like around Thanksgiving, all the way. If you go back, it would have been the 1997-8 season. He wore that costume. Tom Broker would just go and like clean it at every break.
Oh, bless.
And because he, of course, got it. It was like, well, he's comfortable in it. So, just like immediately, like, well, he likes it.
Always gets
always gets it. And exactly. And then, anyway, many, many times after writing a Bobby Marty, Will would fall asleep on the sofas in the old research area, which is now offices, which was like across the hall. Because back in the day, like we just had a million VHSs. We couldn't.
No internet.
There was no internet. Yeah. Wow. So I know, crazy.
Did you ever meet Chip Kudrow?
No.
So this, I guess, was Will's character of Lisa Kudrow's brother.
No, but he also did. Yes, I remember Chip Kudrow. He also did. He also did Jim Signorelli's former DP. That started at a zipper boot party at my house where everybody had to wear zipper boots, and Harper Steele and he and all those people they're all wearing zipper boots.
Oh wow!
And then like 70s boots that zipped, and then he wore like a red pantsuit with an ascot, and then he just
that was Chip.
Yeah,
no,
that was Jim
Ron.
Did you ever hear about Ron?
No,
wait a minute, that was Ron. Ron was Jim Signorelli's old fired DP who was still trying to get jobs, and so he was coming around. And he's dressed as Ron. And then famously, when P. Diddy came, we're getting into it.
Yeah.
I got to find this tape because I have it. He of course, like shut down the whole building. Like, SNL, it's like you can tell like the 5 assholes in the 6 years that I was there when they would be like, so-and-so's in the building. Everybody stay in your dressing rooms. And you're like, which is applicable if you're a presidential candidate. But apart from that, really, it's my house.
And they did it for P. Diddy?
For P. Diddy, he demanded a totally closed set.
Oh, no.
Cool.
Sean Combs.
Sean Combs.
Yes, and he was doing Kashmir. Do you remember that?
Of course. I remember that performance well.
Right, okay.
Yes.
And they brought in like the New York Phil.
Oh, wow.
And they had them in there, and they was sealed off on Thursday. And we were in the writer's room on 9. And Will, and typically McKay or somebody was like, it would be so, if he was dressed as Ron, because he would stay in character for like the whole week, like Andy. So he was dressed as Ron at the table. I think we were rewriting Bobby and Marty. And he went down, they were like, wouldn't it be so funny if Ron just went in? And he did. He went on down the stairs and he marched right in. And I have the video from the control room.
He goes on stage?
Where Sean Combs is like rapping with like behind him. And he's just like, Ron's like walking around looking really disoriented and looking for Jim. He's like, have you seen Jim Signorelli?
Fearless.
Jim Signorelli, to be clear to your listeners, was the OG pre-tape guy. Yeah. So he was like the director who did all of the commercial parodies, all of the Gemini's twin videos, all of the videos that you would do before Lonely Island came. Right. It was like you would go and they were shot on film by this guy, Jim Signorelli, who was a character in his own right.
Yeah.
So
to think that it
is the greatest thing that's ever happened because what a deserved person to have their Kashmir moment interrupted by Ron.
Oh, God.
And he really did not roll with it. He was very uncomfortable. But it was so also just like the artifice of all that faux importance. Like, what's going to happen?
Truly.
Yeah.
You're going to walk into the studio and you're going to be like, I'm in the studio. I work here.
Yeah. I mean, my thing is like, what's crazy about the P. Diddy of it all is it's like, you look back at his time of being like, when he was huge in pop culture, it was always weird. Mm-hmm. Like if you go back and watch like Making the Band, the way that he treats people is so crazy. The way he talks to these, especially like, I think it was the second season where they were making Danity Kane. The way he talks to these girls is absurd.
You wouldn't believe how they talk to us in the 90s. I mean, it's really like the mind bend is like every now and then I look back and I'm like, wow, like the things that we sort of endured. But I mean, whatever, like it all evolves, and thank God for you guys and your generation. And
we didn't do it.
No, you didn't do it. You didn't do it. You weren't born. No, but that's what I'm saying. Like it's just been it's what I really do want to speak to what you said about community at the beginning of your show because I'm old enough now that I've endured a few of these like bumps, and I was telling you right before we went on, like the first time the election didn't go, our way, I had to do a reshoot the next day of the Goldbergs where a chandelier fell on me, and it's literally like,
how did it fall on you? Oh my God! I'm sorry.
Stupid. I don't even remember. But all I'm saying
did the character die? Were you killed on the Goldbergs? I wish.
A very special Goldbergs. No, I don't remember.
It just pretended a lot.
Yeah, this year I had to wake up and dress up as Martha Stewart and go be with Martha Stewart on the Drew Barrymore show. And it really, and then doing Mattress, which is this extraordinarily joy-oriented show.
It really is.
Full of people who are just of the best, sweetest intentions. Yeah. Everybody who did Mattress did it in high school or at camp.
Wow.
And there's like this real kind of collective, I do have this weird moment of gratitude in this time that there are so many of us who love making joy and who will take care of one another and will take care of our community. Mm-hmm. I have more faith, oddly enough, than ever in that. Mm-hmm. And I do feel like whatever, even in this terrible scenario, no matter how we want to parse it, there's still half of us. I mean, it's a lot of people. It's a lot of people. It's millions and millions and millions of people. And you guys know, because you tour, like I'm going to Indiana, which is a red state. And these people show up with tears in their eyes at my shows sometimes. I mean, it's like the joy, and I don't mean to be arrogant about that and whatever. Like, I feel like we have one move left, and that is literally send in the clowns. This is your job.
Literally.
And have a good time doing it and take care of other human beings. Because church is gone for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And as a singer, like corny part of me, that is the closest I've ever felt to God. And I'm not a religious person at all. Like, at all. I went to like a Quaker school. Like, that's like as close as it got, which is not saying very much. So service, as you mentioned, reaching outwards towards others when you are feeling desperate is very helpful.
Yeah.
And singing with others. Like there are these like pop-up one-day choirs. Have you read about that?
Oh yeah.
It's so
yeah.
cool.
Like, you don't have to audition or do anything.
Like
you
people
can
just get
go
together
sing.
to make music together. And I do think when you
great.
sing and when you join, that's why I like music. That's why I went back to do musicals after all was said and done, because sharing that, it's outside of your control whether you can sing, and so like being able to share that with other people, not to be corny, but like
no, I don't think it's corny at all. I actually think, especially after like doing something, and we love SNL, and there's lots of amazing memories, as you were saying, but it does feel like by nature of the show, a lot is out of your control. So when you leave, you want to run towards the joy.
Yeah.
And I feel like, do you think that is a direct correlation that you can see in looking back?
That's such a cool way of putting it. I've never thought about it. Yes, absolutely. And even with regards to my gender and my whatever, all those specific things to each of us that we felt have impacted who we became or whatever, I do find, especially in this chapter, which I guess is my third chapter of 5, let's say, total, I definitely feel...
We're on 3 and there's 2 more?
We got 2 more.
Okay.
Yeah, we got 2 more. Thank you. Well, listen, but I feel like in this chapter, so many, like actually, literally, when I got the offer for Mattress, and I hadn't worked for a while because I have senior parents, so I was dealing with them, and some stuff was going on, and after the strike and all that. So I literally looked at the offer and I saw the cast. I saw Daniel Breaker, I saw Brooks Ashmanskas, I saw Sutton, I saw Michael, I saw like the people lined up. And I said to my husband, oh my God, this cast is so fun. And he was like, stop. Don't even tell me anything else about it. Go do it. Because for me, backstage is everything. Yeah. It's much more fun. Each person's different. But SNL, my favorite was never Saturday. My favorite was always the rewrite table, which is weird because the writers hate the rewrite table. But I loved it. Like I love the idea that you could be with all these funny fuckers who would make your thing better.
You're in a lab and you're just like putting things
and
in
like
a beaker.
blocking on Thursday's fun, and that joy of the community is ultimately for me what makes a thing real. And Elphaba to that point was a hard job.
Yeah,
to follow up SNL with Wicked was stupid.
Yeah, you didn't give yourself a break.
I mean, it's really hard, especially that early. I was like the
third or fourth
Elphaba
replacement.
So I mean, I was because it went
2006.
Dina, Shoshana,
then Shoshana. So I was in that audition round, which is how I got Chicago. So it was me, Shoshana, and Eden. I think. Well, Eden and Shoshana had been standbys on Broadway, so usually those people get bumped because the costumes are already made. But also because they're amazing, and they've been.
They are fantastic.
And then Stephanie, who had been in San Francisco, went on First National, and then I did Chicago.
Yes.
So arguably, I was the first person outside the family.
Yeah,
which was nice, but it was great. So but it was super hard work.
Who was your Glinda?
Kate Reinders.
Oh, fun.
And so what I was starting to say is that Kate. Everything's funnier from Glinda, by the way, because they talk literally like this.
Yeah.
And like even when she was angry about something, she would be like, "He looks old for 40," like whatever. It would always make me laugh. But she was like, "We're playing best friends, so we should just probably be best friends," and we were, and we still are. Like she's a really good girl, and we've always been very close. We just took care of each other, and again, as number one, and you set all the tones. I was like, we can gossip and we can talk shit, but only to each other.
But you guys really. I think like people talk about that cast when you were Elphaba, of just like that was setting this model for the future on like how like it's you can just this is the tone setting that we want, this is the environment that we want. It's not toxic. It's
it wasn't toxic.
Not that anything before was like noxious, but
But no, it really wasn't. It was a really sweet group of humans, and part of it was Chicago too. We had a lot of Steppenwolf, like Rondi Reed was like a Tony winner from the Steppenwolf's production of August Osage County. Like incredible people were there. Heidi Kettenring, who I went to college with, like she played Nessa forever. So there was this real gratitude amongst a lot of the Chicago locals that this is a good equity gig for a long time. People bought houses and stuff. Wow. So there was a nice feeling, and we did Thanksgiving together, and Mattress is. I mean, next level. We have a book club.
Yeah, the company.
We play Traders.
You play Traders?
Yeah, I mean, all of it. Like, all of the things. It's so cute. Daniel Breaker's like an incredible chef. So he's like, every other day, they'll be like, oh, there's jambalaya in the green room that Daniel made, pulled pork. He made pulled pork the morning after the election.
You can tell. You actually can tell that it's like that when you see the show.
Yeah.
It's really fun. And you get the sense, too, that while all of the amazing physical comedy is like incredibly well blocked and everything, it feels improvisational.
There's a lot of it, yeah. And
Is
the
there?
ensemble is really, really engaged. It's a small ensemble. We're close. It's nice.
Yeah.
It's just a fun show. Those songs are really
Well, the
really
music is
special.
fantastic, and that's actually probably the most important part, and nothing outside of our control. But because that stuff when you do a musical, it gets stuck in your head.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've been living with it for some time. So, what else? What else? What else?
Wait, but was singing first or was it violin first for you growing up?
So violin, theoretically,
Yeah.
and truly, I love that you know that. But I really hated it. That's a lonely ass instrument. Do you play the violin?
I played growing up,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I have neutral, complicated feelings about it.
It's complicated.
I was good at it and I enjoyed it. But
Yeah.
it was also I was better at it than piano for sure.
But the perfectionism fact
Yes.
is really, if you're a little OCD, as I imagine everybody in our community is,
100%.
It's really dangerous and it's lonely. Like I mean the sad part is like, so I was playing violin, I was good,
Yeah.
same exact like you. Like I think if I had really loved it, that would have been the thing.
Yeah.
Sure.
Went to like camps for it and stuff like that. And then I went to Interlaken, the
Oh, wow,
Oh,
sure.
theater camp break.
Yep.
And I went as a violin major. And I went and I was like, I want to do plays. Like I saw.
Yeah.
So I came back and immediately booked in my middle school, Helen Keller and the Miracle Worker. Yeah, go
You were
off.
Helen?
Were you Annie?
You were
I was Helen.
You were
Yes!
I
Helen.
mean, yes.
Word.
Go off.
I love it. Go off,
And
Helen.
even as
Title of that.
blind, deaf, mute Helen Keller, I was like, I'm home. I found my thing.
Yes.
And then like from then on, I was like, oh, I think this is my. It was honestly, it was all backstage people. It was people doing bits
Sure.
backstage.
Yeah.
Even like
That's-
in 7th grade, I was like, oh, this is what I want to do, like the bits. And then, but I didn't know that they were bits then. I just thought, talk
We're
about
being
them.
funny.
Everyone's being
Yeah,
funny.
exactly.
But then was it college? Was it Northwestern where you were like comedy?
Yes, because then I switched to voice.
Uh-huh.
I bargained out from violin because my family was very classical music, very training oriented. So my mom, there was not going to be not doing an instrument or training of some sort.
Sure.
So I bargained into a classical vocal program. I
Great.
did some roles in the Washington Opera as a kid.
Wow.
Like La Boheme Children's Chorus, Ghost and Macbeth, like about Verity
Beautiful,
Macbeth, whatever,
beautiful.
which I also hated. And then again, community. I liked the kids, but that was it. And then when I got to I sang my way into Northwestern. I never would have gotten in without my audition. And then I was the worst music student on earth. I mean, I don't
Because you lost interest, or
I just.
Yeah.
I mean, I did not want to be an opera singer.
got it.
Sure.
And then I found improv there.
Titanic Players? Was it?
It
No.
was called Meow Show, and like
Oh.
Seth was in it, and
Uh-huh.
I think Sarah Sherman was in it.
Yes.
And yeah, it's a very like all the improv people
Legacy
that,
vibes
Julie
at
Louis
the
Dreyfus,
school.
yeah, all
Oh,
Josh
wow,
Myers, Seth
yeah.
Meyers, yeah. But that's how I did it. I just found the people, and I'm sure when you start doing improv, you're like, oh my god, my mutant friends.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then that's why I went to LA and went into TV, and I didn't do anything vocally. I kind of I was like smoked a bunch of cigarettes and did comedy, and then did the Groundlings. But I was always like going back to singing,
Yeah.
because it's in the toolkit. And
Right.
then after SNL, I sort of wanted to like. It was reaction formation, all the
Right.
chaos and
Yeah.
the sort of the thing I started to feel at the end of SNL was I was sort of always just not failing, if that makes sense. Like I was sort of
Totally.
not like just pulling it off. Whereas with theater, like you have the opportunity to constantly refine and
Yes.
make it better and better and better.
It's so
I mean, there's-
ephemeral. It's so ephemeral doing it at SNL. Sorry. not to
Yes,
cut you off.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And especially if you're one shot Saturday night and you're like, I kind of,
Yep.
didn't love how it went at air. I went, whatever.
Yeah, that is a feeling. I guess you never get to correct anything,
Never.
Never.
which is kind of beautiful, but also frustrating.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm at the frustrating point of
It's
it now.
frustrating.
Yeah.
It's a weird feeling because the stakes feel very high, which they are. But also, what I will say is, not that you're asking, but
Please.
whatever, 22 years out, the part I remember is the creative part.
Yeah.
The part I remember is the people and the community and the making things. And those skills never go away.
No.
They never go away. And the community never goes away. I mean, I've worked with so many people across so many generations of SNL that I wasn't even on the show with. But the shorthand of understanding one another. I mean, Rachel and I never wrote together at the show, and she's like my writing partner now. So it's
Wow.
like,
Wow.
I mean, we write lots of things together. So it's Yorma I've done things with. Fred Armisen and I have done things like people who, because the shorthand, the mutant skin.
Sure.
Yes.
It's the mutant skin, and also, but I feel like what you've done with SNL, sort of like, I don't know, I guess like holding some kind of like weight on the tablescape of it is like so like it is your own specific tableau of things. Like no one else from SNL has been that kind of vocalist and has like used their specific talent in that way, the way that you have. And I feel like that's just what's kind of incredible about everything sense.
You kind of, whatever. What is it? Necessity is the mother of invention. I mean, just what things that you love and that you do. And it gives you, I mean, it really does give you the freedom to go a lot of places. Yeah. I mean, it's insane. I mean, I couldn't even get generals as a girl on SNL in the 90s, literally, like coming out. And then now, like, it's just, the legacy of the place is such a gift. Like, it's unreal.
It's so crazy because I feel like that was the time when everyone was talking about the women of SNL, the women of SNL,
we
the women of SNL.
We definitely got a lot of attention. We definitely did. And I don't mean to disturb that in any way. Like, especially the beginning with Molly, Sherry and I, just because it was coming, like when I got the show, I'm not making this up.
It was a reset.
People came up to me and they were like, oh, you're so funny. I'm so bummed that you're going on SNL. You're going to be squandered. Like the idea of being a woman on the show was not a good idea.
Right.
And because they had just fired Janine Garofalo. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And
Sarah Silverman.
Sarah Silverman had been fired. Like all these really kind of interesting girls had just sort of been eaten up and chewed out.
Right.
Or chewed up and eaten out? No,
they got
that's not what I meant to say. Let's stay away from this metaphor.
They got mauled and shit out.
And
it was hard, it was hard to navigate. But for whatever kind of cosmic reasons, the three of us kind of powered through. And then by the time I left, there were a lot of women. There was like Amy and Tina and all these kind of dominant female figures.
It did feel watershed. And then all of a sudden, almost like ever since then, it's like, who are the women of SNL?
No one's, and I love it this way, no one's really ever talked about the guys since. And I'm like, that's totally fine. I think even now it's like the women of SNL are killing it. And it's like, I love that kind
and
of
Bowen,
shine.
the women in Bowen.
The women and this gay guy.
No.
That is not true. You cut right through my friend.
No, he's
big time.
Oh, that's very nice. One of my fondest SNL memories ever was doing my most random update ever. I don't even want to mention it because it was just...
Mention it, though.
It was Bottle Boy. It was a total, like, let's just fucking write it. It was fine. But, and then I just, like, went into my dressing room, and then I was just kind of, like, I had, like, a light show. I had nothing else to do, and I was just sat in my dressing room, and then I hear a knock at the door, and I think it's, like, a page dropping off, like, Chris Redd's lunch or something. And I'm like, come in. Nothing. Another knock, come in, and then I finally like open up the door, and then it's you, Dratch, and Tina.
Oh, it was your aunties.
It was my aunties.
Aunties.
They had to see their nephew.
We wanted to meet you.
It was so
we all
surreal
watched the
to
show.
me.
Like,
I know,
we
but
love it.
But the three of you at the same time,
it was a lot. The three-headed monster.
Like, screamed at the door, like, come in. But I was like, I couldn't believe it, and we talked about Fire Island. We talked about
That's what we do. That's what we do.
And that was just such a... I will never forget
He
that.
texted me when
That's
you guys
so
did that.
sweet.
It was so exciting. I mean, you have to know, like, of course, like, for gay boys who grew up with SNL, like, you guys are legends. I mean, like,
so
I'll
awesome.
never forget, like, I mean, we talk about Gemini's Twin, talk about Shreddy Balls, all these things are, like, in the fabric of our comedic upbringing, and
true.
that is, it's not just that. I mean... Mean Girls, I mean, like, all these things.
Yeah, so many of the things.
So many of the things. I'll never forget, like, watching the intro to Divas Live.
Okay, I can't believe you just said that.
Well, I'm saying it.
No, you want to know why? Because when your question about what the cultural moment is,
Yes,
like, I've been, like, really chewing
We're
on
gonna
it.
get there.
We'll get there, but it's funny because I was like, do I bring up Divas Live? Because I do. That was, speaking to the power of the women on the show, that was a moment where I think, you have these moments when you're, like, a nobody, and then suddenly you're on, and it must be so intense now because you guys are all over social and whatever. We were just like quietly, I mean, the day I got the show, I think I had on my OG answering machine, 36 like messages. At the time I was like, and it's also funny because it's a lot of assholes, like agents who didn't sign you and stuff. Totally. Like, we're like, I just wanted to say congratulations. We had such a sense and you've landed where you deserve.
We had such a sense.
Even though we told you wouldn't work unless you look like Courtney Thorne-Smith. Deep cut, but true. Twice. I had that said to me twice. Once by an agent and when I went to LA. Isn't that crazy?
Terrible.
That's so
I know.
funny.
Well, Rachel, I mean, not Dratch. Tina and I have a saying, which is ethnic in the 80s, because we both had like super curly Greek hair.
Yeah.
We were ethnic in the 80s.
Sure.
Tina's
like,
Greekness.
Yeah, my
really
Greekness too. My mom is Greek. So it was literally like
I'm also Greek.
Yeah, oh my
ethnic
God,
in the
80s. So ethnic in the 80s, and now, because literally my school was like, wanted me to, whatever, the West Side Story or whatever. Like all of, like, now you're like, my daughter is scandalized when I tell her that. She's like, you didn't know that!
You can't be Anita. Yeah.
But you were Celine Dion. Molly was Shania, and Sherry was Mariah. And it was the three of you all discussing. It was a sketch with the three of you before the show started.
And do you know who was
opened
there?
With you guys.
Was Destiny's Child. We were introducing Destiny's Child. Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
After you'd already done Jumping. No, because Maya hadn't been at the show.
Maya wasn't on the show yet.
Wasn't on the show yet.
It was 96, I think, or 7, early 7. Yeah. And that was my first moment where I was like, oh, this is a thing.
This is a thing.
And the first paper to mention it, the first paper of record was Playboy.
Wow.
Playboy did like a little story on the girls of SNL popping.
Wow.
Isn't that weird?
But
it used to be. My husband has a
amazing.
plan, by the way. Playboy's for sale. He's like, I think we should buy Playboy and we should just quietly talk to all the white straight boys who don't know how to vote. And help.
Listen.
I mean, they do need to be spoken
and
to.
give them a place that isn't like such like it's only semi-toxic masculinity.
Exactly.
No, there's a way to
give
cut
them a
it.
grayscale. Let's
Yeah.
find
Give him grayscale.
Yeah.
Well,
So I think
Let's
we're kind
include. I mean, I have a sweet straight boy, so I want it to be okay.
No, and
like,
and
listen,
what's
they're
the
not
secret
all
there?
bad.
No, they're not all bad.
they're
but
not.
like how'd you get him that way?
He's a has an anxiety disorder.
That's it.
There you go.
So he just runs constantly.
Oh, great. So he's
runs,
healthy.
He runs like constantly.
running like distance running.
Like he ran the Brooklyn Half as a sophomore in high school. Like that's how he handles his despair
You know what's
about the
funny?
world.
Looking
Sure.
back, I know that was why I was a runner too, and because I was also a heavy track athlete.
Yeah,
and
I bet you were.
Looking back, I'm like, it was my anxiety.
Oh yeah,
It
it's so good
100%
for
was.
anxiety. I ran cross country in high school too.
Did you
Wow. Look at you both.
Badly.
badly?
But I liked it. It was the only thing that kept me sane because it was, very.
Sure.
It was pre-diagnosis times.
Right.
Sure.
I keep aging myself.
No.
In my day, my
mine
mother
was
bought me
pre-diagnosis
Dexatrim.
too.
Dexatrim. My mom bought me Dexatrim. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Like, you know what? You should probably. We all did the Scarsdale diet, which was
that?
like, it was so gross. It was like I can't imagine having an adolescent in my house and being like, "Here's your half a grapefruit and black coffee."
Yeah.
Yes, grapefruit and coffee.
It was black coffee, half a grapefruit, and then hilarious 80s pasta for dinner.
But it offsets it with the grapefruit.
And well, you were all on Dexatrim anyway, so it didn't matter.
Yeah, but you know what though? There was
You
a
were all
time
high
when
as a kite.
we were
Judy Garland, Jesus.
Oh my.
we were told like you can't eat enough pasta. The runners, you know what I mean? Like it was a carbo load all the time.
That's actually still a thing.
Well, yeah. I remember I would go for pasta party dinners at Applebee's, and I would fuck myself up because I would just have the 3 cheese chicken penne, and I would run my race the next day and
Shit
be
your pants?
shitting.
Yeah.
But you were fast.
I think there was a day where I had to stop and shit, which was like
Everybody
horrible.
has. No, I just read an article about it.
Yeah, like it's out there, it's happening. We're kind of existing in this area where I think we should ask the question.
Yes, I think we should.
Because
Oh.
we're sort of back in time. So Anna Gasteyer, what was the culture that made you say culture was for you?
Okay, so I'm going to be I'm not going to be as fun on this answer as
No,
you might want,
please,
but
please.
because we are existing in this time, and it is the only thing I can think of, and it's going to sound really humble braggy, but it is about SNL and it's about the importance of laughter. I can't believe I just said that.
No.
My friend Tony and I have a bit where we always make fun of people who use the word humor.
Oh, of course.
Because
That's so humorous.
they kill.
Yeah.
It sucks all comedy
I
from
love
the
your
room.
humor.
Or people who call that out. Exactly. They
And
breathe-
it's a
Call-
smile
people
like
call
this.
I love how you use humor.
humor. Someone calls
You
himself
really-
a humorist.
A humorist,
That's the
done.
best.
Oh,
I love how you
humorist
use
is-
humor to diffuse awkward situations.
Yeah.
Just destroying it, ruining everything.
Random humor.
What I was gonna say. So this is a weird thing to throw out there, but as a kid, I was friends with Amy Carter, President Jimmy Carter's daughter.
Oh.
I grew up in Washington. Okay, so for starters, let me just start with culture. Like I grew up in a totally black neighborhood. I was a little white girl who played the violin, and I had an eye patch.
Why?
So due to blindness.
oh.
due to permanent just whatever legal blindness. Am I right?
yeah,
So I was
yeah.
always patched. They patched me for
okay.
like ever. So I would go to like my all black elementary school with my violin and my eye patch. And as you can imagine, I
You were
developed a sense
vibe.
of I used humor a lot to get through the situations. Okay, so anyway, but then weirdly, I was in this after school program, like this GT kind of thing, and I became friends with Amy Carter, Jimmy Carter's daughter, and we became really good friends. And she played the violin, and she was like a reader. And so I weirdly had this like whole childhood life in middle school where I would go and like sleep over at the White House and like go to Camp David. Like I went to Camp David during the during the Camp David Accords. I played. If you research it, if you go to,
you play the violin.
I play the violin for Anwar Sadat and Menachem Begin, just me, and it's such a weird
for the Middle Eastern leaders.
Yes, for the Middle Eastern. I watched Star Wars with the Sadats. Insane.
You're king.
Okay,
so we're just to make this clear, this is while he was president.
100%.
Wow.
Okay, so all this kind of weird fact about my life, just by this accidental biography. Okay.
Yeah.
To say that I was in the White House sleeping over at Amy Carter's. And now remember, Saturday Night Live started in 75.
Yes.
And it was everybody, like liberal parents, all the people on my block, everybody was aware that this kind of like radical piece of television had come out. And again, I know for your audience, like it's hard to imagine, but
it was
nobody had made fun of the news.
Yes.
Right.
Nobody had made fun of like basic sort of tropes that we're accustomed to. The Onion, like that was so radical.
Yeah.
And I was a kid. I was little, but I was aware that they were like edgy and cool and making choices that were strange and wearing costumes and funny. Like we knew it was cool and hip.
It's right after Watergate. It's right
after Watergate.
The last chopper leaves
And
Vietnam.
basically what we watched which was great. It was like Carol Burnett and Bob Newhart and like what was on TV when it was scheduled.
Right.
Yeah.
So you just kind of like consumed television idly, if you will.
Sure.
So, and again, also I remember I was 10, 11. So I'm in the White House and it's dinner. I mean, it's after dinner. It's late. It's a sleepover, and we go to this little like kitchenette in the living quarters, and President Carter was like never there because he was the president, and we were usually just with her nanny and her maybe Rosalind Carter was around a little bit.
Wow.
And we went to get a snack, and we came out, and sort of in the middle of the White House living area, President Jimmy Carter was sitting in a chair with a burgundy V-neck and a beer, and he was watching Dan Aykroyd play himself on Saturday Night Live, and he was laughing hysterically.
Oh my God.
And it like imprinted in my brain of obviously the surrealness of like, whatever, there's this person dressed as this person, imitating this person, the president, leader of the free world. And I just think he's the most amazing human being. Obviously, we all know he went on to do incredible acts of humanity and humanism. But it has stayed with me so much in the last 12 years, our lack of empathy and understanding. Like as soon as the president-elect, I'm not even going to say his name, was not able to laugh at anything about himself. In fact, arguably ran for president because he was a laughingstock.
Right.
Because Seth made fun of him. Yeah. It's so the ability to laugh at things and the ability to pull yourself out of situations and to find what's funny about it. And I can't even believe I'm saying this, but like the gift that humor does actually give us as a piece of sort of like storytelling and political commentary, that is. As much as like I really hated dressing as Martha Stewart the day after the election, and I hated doing the Goldbergs and having a chandelier fall on me, like I feel it's more important than I thought, you know. Yeah. And I feel like we're going to have a lot of places in this new era where whatever news has proven itself to be untrustworthy, and social media has certainly proven itself to be maybe we idiotic performers will be able to tell the truth a little bit.
It's
starting to get all deep and go
that's really important, and what a special memory to have. Yeah, that is wild.
And even my 10-year-old brain was like, oh, he's so good at he's laughing at himself. Like I understood it on some profound level.
And like you understood what was being shown on television was this like I don't know, like purposeful lampooning.
I mean, I don't think I was a kid, so I wasn't like dialed into like the nuance of the
totally.
politic, you know. But
you saw him laughing. You just understood that he was laughing at himself.
I understood that it was an impression of him, that we were in the White House, and that he was watching this Saturday Night Live, one of the cooler pieces of cultural reflection in our society. Yep. And still, I mean, you know, to this day, and that he understood that it was funny, and that there was a power to that.
Yeah. It's like the Ron thing, or it's like whatever. It's like it's like either you it's a bellwether, either you get it or you don't.
Yeah.
And like right now you gotta get it.
We gotta get it. I mean, it's really hard. I don't get it. I don't think anything's funny right now, except for you and all of the work that you do.
But it's like,
but you know what I'm saying? Like
totally.
And whatever. Sometimes that means we just need something light and fluffy and joyful, and it's whatever the moment calls for. The irony. Yeah. Anyway, that's my story.
It's about humility, and it's about
humility.
It takes you out of solipsism. It takes you out of like thinking that your own reality is the most important one.
I've definitely been thinking a lot about like, because as we have like this platform where we're expected to comment on culture and everything, it has been, I don't know if you feel this way, but it sometimes can be confusing about like, do we come on here and like say this is what I think and like and react in real time, or are we supposed to be clowns? And I think it's sort of a mix of both. It's been an interesting walk, and I would imagine that like it feels probably very similar when you are on Saturday Night Live. It's like we do have to speak to real issues, but also at the same time, like what we do and what our talents are being funny and being the jesters, and the literal role of the jester is to point to the king and say, this is what's crazy about the king. I mean, and it feels I mean that's like where humor, that's like where comedy is birthed from. That's literally the job of the comedian, is to do the very thing. But it can sometimes feel, I think, and this is where I think we can as comedians and as people in the arts check ourselves, is it can become very self-important
and didactic.
And didactic. My God.
I want to get in there.
Didactic.
But when people, like, for example, I've really been thinking a lot about like the celebrity endorsement, right?
Yeah.
And like how it literally didn't matter at all in one sense. Like, of course, it's great to be able to speak out against like fascism and these like objective evils, and to let people know like, hi, women, I see you, I'm sticking up for you, I'm standing up to this. But at the same time, it feels like we've been given a clear message that like the public, I think across the board, wants entertainers to be entertainers.
And not scolds.
And also to not feel like they can control culture. Because I think we've seen that they don't. You know what I mean? I'm not saying like don't speak up, but I am saying
I do see some fault at the feet of those who have characterized it as such. I do feel like, yes, stay in your lane to a certain degree, but we also are what we're made of, right?
Yeah.
So finding common ground as human beings is part of what comedy is, like finding the things that we share in common. And actually, I do think it gets harder and harder and harder as we're more and more sort of forced into these tribal lanes.
Right.
It's really tricky. But whatever. Like that's what I'm saying. Like I love doing shows in Kansas and red states and places where I can just share a love of the holidays and try to find a place that's like a little less lightning roddy for people. But there are fewer and fewer places to do that. The holidays is one, but just the things that we all kind of universally share. But I do feel like I guess what I was really trying to say is that people are like, shut up, you entitled libs. I think that's very activating for me too, because in many ways we share the same values. And I think for women in particular, it's heartbreak. I mean, Beyonce, Taylor Swift, like those people showing up to people like my daughter who are 22, it meant a lot, because it's a very hopeless feeling to be a young woman right now in this country, not just from the tactical standpoints of reproductive care, but also, they've now in their very short lives seen misogyny really run the board,
the whole thing. Yeah.
Now, pull the camera back. We've run 2 candidates in 12 years. That's not bad. I never thought a woman was even an option for a president, let alone a person of color. Like, it was not even in there. So whatever, in 50 years, we're probably going to have both of those boxes checked, It just feels very immediate right now.
Right. And this is a thing that I've learned from like Mike Shoemaker via Seth.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this gives me pause or if this like puts me into more despair. Yeah. I'm just like, it's like anytime Seth wanted to have it out with someone at SNL, like Shoemaker would be like, it's a long life.
It's a long life.
If you wait, whatever you're feeling about these particular people is going to go away, and then they'll be at your wedding. And like,
well, that is true about SNL.
Totally. And I don't know how I can apply that to like the greater landscape.
I don't think Trump is going to come to any of my children's christenings.
He might.
It could happen.
I don't know. You were friends with the Carters.
It's true. I was friends with the Carters.
But
he turned out to be the best president ever.
Oh my God. Did you ever go to Georgia or Atlanta or
no? I mean, they literally moved back, and that was sort of that. And again, this was like long distance phone calls cost something, but
oh wow.
I mean, we had some friends in common over the years, and President Carter did and whatever, this is just humble bragging now, but somebody told me that a book on tape editor had also worked on his memoirs, and I don't know how it came up, but he was like, oh, the comedian Anna Gasteyer, she was a friend of Amy's.
Wow.
Which was such a weird feeling that he knew who I was, but like, of course, like I was on television. Duh.
Yeah.
But not of course, but
at a time when everyone,
but it seemed
that was monoculture. SNL was monoculture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing about Christmas, sorry to go back to this, but
Yeah,
for you
edit
two,
that if you can. So braggy.
but you two kind of going across the country, performing these shows about Christmas, having it be so resonant and people loving it. It's like, it's because Christmas feels like, the holidays feel like the last kind of bit
They
of
do. They're the
monoculture
last
too.
safe space that we can all get in. And also because they are so just admittedly pagan at this point. It's
Right,
not like,
totally.
you know, I always...
Kind of what's funny about it.
I know it is kind of funny because I just feel like people like need a fucking break.
I know.
Like they just, can I say fucking?
Yeah, of course you can.
That they like, people are just tired and they want to be, it's a funny time. It's a funny time for programming. Like it also gets really, because I've done so much now, like with Clusterfunk, with our Christmas movie and Lifetime and Hallmark, and like we're developing the Clusterfunk into a musical actually for the stage. But
Great.
I know, so fun. But everyone's always like, well, yeah, it's such a weird time to program because nobody thinks about it, and then everybody's trapped in the house and they're all watching Hallmark movies because all they want to do is comfort food
because they just want something new. Because the old stuff, kind of like, I don't know. I don't want to revisit the old stuff as much as
There's not that much.
But many people do.
I know many people do, but I'm
like I do White Christmas. I do It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah.
I do Rudolph.
Yeah.
I do. What do you do? Charlie Brown.
What's the
Frosty?
the claymation Rudolph is good.
Yeah,
Frosty's good.
yeah.
There's also
Heat
one,
Miser
the Heat Miser. Those are bops, by the way.
Yeah,
I'm
they all
Mr.
are.
Heat Miser. Whatever I touch starts to melt in my clutch.
Yeah.
I'm too much.
Rankin and Bass, right? That's what those are.
Baby, yeah, that was good. You know what's funny though? Like you're talking about like going to like red states, and I remember I was looking at, because I'm going on the road for all of December, and the by far slowest markets, like the tour's selling great, but like the slowest ones were Philadelphia and Atlanta. And I asked my agent, I'm like, why are these so slow? And they were like, oh, because those cities are like, the anxiety is so high
for the election.
And like, as he said, across the board, like those are, any swing state is like tough. And now it's kind of like, I really do hope people like come out, because I think that the amount of anxiety that had to have been felt
they
in
were
places
also getting
like that.
Think about how many
Called a million times
robocalls exactly.
Oh
like,
yeah, spending a lot of money, I bet too, like
Yeah.
at different events, and because people that were really
Right.
activated in those areas
Right.
are spending a lot of money, like in the way that other areas may not have been. Also, just we were in Pennsylvania recently, and it's tense.
Yeah.
Like it is tense. You look around at people and you're like, how are you looking at me? And I think
know.
that, you know what I'm saying?
I know. I had
we
such
were just there,
gratitude
and
for that the next day after the election.
It was rough.
I had people like in canvassing say like, I'm afraid to vote because I'm afraid what my neighbors will do. I mean, it's, people are scared.
Yeah, it's tough. But
That's why we're going to continue to need a little Christmas right this very moment. Need a little Christmas. Bring in the clowns.
I feel
the Send in the Clowns theme is really, really trenchant. Or trenchant? Yeah.
I don't know what that means, but I like it.
we need to find out in real time.
Well, favorite
Trenchant.
Christmas song to cover.
Say what?
Favorite Christmas song to cover. That's on the album or off the album? Off Sugar and Booze.
Favorite
Christmas
Christmas
song to cover. I'm so sorry.
Oh, sorry.
I'm not enunciating.
Favorite Christmas song to cover. Well, on the one that I love the version that on my album is Sleigh Ride.
Sleigh Ride. It's great. Sleigh Ride.
Nobody it's not that popular. Like nobody listens to it, but I love. It's like this sort of bossa nova cover, and I love it. Yeah. Tetris.
You're so at home in that style
I
too.
love
You
it.
and Maya and that like sort of like Cuban.
Yeah, we have that Secret
jazzy-
Santa song that I wrote.
I love
Maya's
that
so
one.
funny on it. You know where we recorded that, which is so crazy because Maya's like knows everybody. We recorded that in Joni Mitchell's studio
Wow. The coolest.
in LA because her friend like runs that studio.
Oh, it's amazing.
And actually, Pharrell, they snuck us in to do it really fast because apparently Pharrell had it for the day. So Pharrell doesn't know that he paid for my studio time for that song, which is kind of excellent.
he's good for it.
Yeah,
He's good for it.
exactly.
Trenchant means vigorous or incisive in expression or style.
And then what did I say was trenchant?
The point that the Send in the Clowns point.
Send in the Clowns is trenchant. I would say vigorous and incisive in expression
Yeah,
or
it is.
style. And
It
style,
means
I would say.
it's
Send in the
meaningful.
clown.
Send in the Clowns is trenchant. That's rule of culture. That's rule of culture number 75.
Send in the Clowns is trenchant.
Good.
Why?
You would do a great rendition of that song.
It's kind of a downer.
Yeah, but that's
Yeah,
okay.
but there's an ounce of
favorite
triumph to it.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
I think it's beautiful and how sad and resigned
I
it
know.
is.
It's now that I'm in my third chapter, I don't feel anything. I try to shut down feelings as
Yeah.
fast as possible.
You know what?
I know. It's because I figure
Fourth chapter is going to be about getting them. No, fourth.
Well, because fourth chapter, a lot of people are going to start dying, and so then I'm going to have to cry a lot.
Yeah.
So but then by fifth chapter, be like, well, that we were good friends, and then that'll be it.
It is crazy. Like I was watching like Hillary was obviously doing the rounds a little bit, and a lot of her friends are dead. Hillary Clinton. Sorry.
Well, Kelly,
she's always talking about, well, this is my friend who died, and this is my friend who died, and I was like, oh God.
Brother.
I mean, it happens.
It happens. I know.
What about Kelly?
My friend Kelly, she was like, we were talking about when certain people were going to die that might die that maybe were just elected, and we were talking just like loosely about that.
Right. Oh, it's gonna happen sooner
and she
than
was
we
just
think.
in theory, just how that might go. And she was saying, like, but people who feel die more.
Right. No. Someone was saying this. Like, people who are that disgusting tend to live so long.
I know, because they're not trouble. They don't get cancer from being sad.
Can I say one thing about
too soon?
No.
The point I was making earlier, I'm a little self-conscious about because it's not really what I believe about people like, celebrities and the celebrity endorsement of it all.
No, I'm glad you said that.
What I'm talking about
I get it.
is like standing up for issues is important. And I think standing up for women is important. I just think all of that is important. What I'm saying is, though, when a celebrity is at a certain privilege level,
we all are.
Some people are not listening and they feel patronized for it. And I think there's something to learn from that,
Matt,
in maybe how comfortable we all felt.
No, listen, I want to say my husband he's in advertising, but he just did this huge research project on the heartland because he also feels, as we all do, I think correctly, that the many people in rural America feel patronized. And that is an understandable point of view. Right. That is, I think, very real, and that it is incumbent upon us to find common ground when people feel that marginalized. Right. And what's interesting is that this is common ground that he discovered. First of all, community is really important in rural America. That was like the number one thing. Yep. Your community is almost more important than
politics.
Other things. And the second is making and doing, which was really, really interesting in the research. So we may be making and putting on a show or whatever, like putting on our wigs and, getting a barn together decoratively. Right. But it's funny because Martha Stewart, bringing it back to her, one of the reasons she appeals is making and doing. There's like a lot of time spent with sort of crafts and you're taking care of your property and taking care of your car and sort of mechanical uses of your time, literally. But what we have in common with that is we also make things. That's what we do. And so somehow finding the way to communicate the two of those things, so it's not just arrogant fucking didactic entertainment, and it's not just like, mud races. Like there's got to be somewhere where those two things do overlap slightly, and it doesn't have to be as divisive as it is.
Exactly.
Totally.
Exactly.
Yeah, because a lot of the messaging might have been from the left, like, be more like us.
Yes, exactly.
There's a level of disdain that's implied.
Yes,
there,
completely.
Right? And there's something about like redistributing respect or something.
It's really hard.
I mean? It's so hard.
It's hard when you don't feel respected.
Totally.
It's understandable as a gay person in America or as a ethnic woman in the 80s.
Yeah.
A Greek
feel
woman in the
respected.
80s.
I have to flat iron my hair.
See me. Yes, but I mean, so
I know.
You know how
I
it
know.
is.
I know.
It came
Disney.
down.
Let's talk about Disney.
Yeah,
Disney.
They
Oh
yell
my
at
god,
us.
our listeners hate us for talking about Disney.
We've
Let me
been
tell you
talking about
something.
Disney so much.
I
Our
love
listeners
Disney.
are so
Oh my
mad.
God, when are we
I'm so
going?
well. We're gonna hopefully go December. Oh, I'll tell you when. But no, because there's this one thing that I have done over the years that is so incredible. Which I'm gonna tell you. I'll tell you about off camera.
What is it? Just that.
You can just say.
Candlelight processional. Have you ever?
Oh, you've done it?
I've done it.
Wow.
Wonderful. That's one of my dreams. I want to do that.
yes. I
You
would love that.
absolutely have to do it. First of all, like I said, not a religious person, but boy, does Jesus flow through me
Yes.
when I
Yeah.
do that, because there are 350 voices behind you. Your spine shakes from the bass of the singers. There are 56 pieces in that orchestra with those Disney arrangements. There are 8 heralding trumpets. It is so spectacularly magnificent.
Yes.
And you read the story of Christmas, and it's very hard not to cry.
Yes, that's beautiful.
This is it. Like there's no church anymore, but like what needs to be replaced is like meaning, and that's.
Oh my God. And also, a big part of the meaning is the fact that my family gets the guide the whole time that I'm there.
Oh yeah, that's huge. It's very meaningful. Shout out to our VIP guide, Matt. We'll see you soon,
we
babe.
love you.
We love
And
you.
Sam.
Do you have Matt?
I have Sam too.
Tina's guy.
Sam has Tina and Mariah Carey.
And Mariah. But then Matt is oh god.
Matt was like Matt was spit out of like a Disney sort of 3D printer, right?
Are we talking about the same person?
He's the most lovely
young guy.
Yes,
lovely young
this
guy.
This guy's great. He's
awesome. Delightful.
Oh, we love Matt so much.
Do you take in a show when you go to Disney? I like to take in a show just to cool my jets.
What do you mean taking a show? Like,
I'll go take in a show. Yeah, I'll sit down and enjoy that year's Beauty and the Beast or whatever. I'll take in a show.
What did we see? Did we go into the Frozen show? I think we stayed till Let It Go and left.
Yeah.
That's fair. I mean, Aladdin, nice little 45-minute.
Oh, I love it.
Wham Bam,
we
Thank
saw
You, Man.
Beauty and the Beast.
We saw
Beauty and the Beast.
We saw her twirl.
Yeah, Fantasmic. I mean, all of it. I enjoy taking in a show for a break because it's often air conditioned.
Of course.
Oh, that's the thing.
And you can settle in. Yeah. And where's your favorite place to eat? Wait, do you like Walt Disney World or Disneyland?
We'll do both.
We'll do both. I love World. I love Tiffin's Animal Kingdom.
Tiffin's in Animal Kingdom.
I haven't been to Tiffin's.
Oh, you should
Lovely,
go.
delightful.
This is good.
No, so Jeff and Tina turned us on to the Cars one. Do you ever go to, not Cars, World. Do you ever go to the old-timey
in Frontierland?
sci-fi movie?
Oh, the sci-fi drive-in.
Yes.
Also really good for, again, a lot of our thoughts are around
the kids.
My kids are old now, but early on, these taking in a show and sitting in the drive-in, those are like, it's hot, everybody's overstimulated. Let's sit in the dark for a few minutes.
Yes, that's important.
Where we went for lunch this last time was the Space Restaurant. Remember that?
Oh,
Space 220.
Space 220, which is the restaurant
they take you up.
In Mission Space.
But it's like
they pretend it's an elevator that takes you're
I think it was booked when we were there. We tried to get in.
It's kind of goofy, but it was
goofy,
fun.
but it's fun.
I do OG Blue Bayou.
Oh yeah, come on,
of course.
So you can have a cocktail. God damn it.
I mean, why not?
Yeah,
it might glow in the dark. It might.
It just might be too sweet. That's the thing. Is like whenever I go drink there, I always drink beer because everything is so sweet.
Everything's so sweet. Now you're in your sugar watching times.
Yes, but also
your
like
monitor times.
Sweet cocktails like. It's really tough.
No.
Like
you can get wine over in California Adventure.
You sure can.
All right. Your listeners are tired of hearing it anyway.
Well, no.
we have a game in my family. It's called Nervous Breakdown Job.
Go ahead.
It's what you're gonna do after your nervous breakdown.
Oh, great. What's yours?
Well, mine is gonna be, and it's kind of a cheat because it is a job at Disney, but we have different versions of it. My main one is that I'm gonna work at Trader Joe's on the Fearless Flyer, where I write up reviews of new Trader Joe's products.
That's good.
But if I have a nervous breakdown and I end up in Disney, I'm going to try to audition to be the Wicked Stepmother meet and greet lady.
Oh my God,
so
Lady Tremaine.
They're so funny. Those women are so funny. So I'll just yell at people, yell at children. It's not unlike my character actually in Mattress.
No, actually, you're rehearsed.
My
You're ready to go.
husband's nervous breakdown job at Walt Disney World is...
It's all Disney.
He wants to manage. He's sorry, everybody. He's going to manage the tiny barge trip from the yacht club to Epcot.
Oh, that's wonderful.
You know, they get on and they're like, all aboard. Oh, that's perfect.
You know what? Those simple
and then
joys.
Let the people off, and then all aboard.
Yeah, you just go right back. It's so
He's going to do that all day and find it soothing.
You know what? The culture that made me say culture for me in many regards was not. This is not Disney, but it was Universal Studios, the Jaws ride, the boat, the skipper. I actually am off book on it. And I'm not kidding you. We did it. I did a show years ago at UCB called a one-man show called You Will Get Wet. Which actually doesn't really qualify as where my character's biggest dream was to be that the skipper on the Jaws boat, and Bowen Yang played the shark.
I played
Jaws.
And
I see where this is going, and for your future careers as well.
Yes. I staged the ride, and there was water effects and everything. I did it in the basement at UCB Chelsea. Actually, there is a YouTube video of it. I don't know if I've taken it down.
That sounds fantastic.
It was good. Shannon O'Neill did not give me a run, but
it was an excellent show.
It was almost
back.
Honestly,
Send in the clowns.
One of these days.
Is that a great title? You Will Get Wet.
Yes.
So good.
It's really good. Bring it back.
I'm going to use it for something else.
Listen, there's going to be a lot of Disney times in the coming years. For a lot of America. If they drop their prices, because it's gotten very expensive.
Can I say this is the thing though? It's like after the results came in, I was like, it's the separation of wealth because the families can't even go to fucking Disney World anymore.
You're absolutely right.
Like that's what it is it's like we talk about the separation of wealth. We talk about wealth inequality ad nauseum, and then it's like the Democratic Party decides to put someone up who doesn't make that a forefront issue at least enough for people, and we're surprised. I mean, the separation of wealth is the number one thing that we have to fix. Money has to come out of politics. There needs to be some redistribution. Like, I mean,
$1 billion.
It's crazy. And meanwhile, this, like, whatever. I'm just saying, it's like you talk about these things and then it is sad because families can't experience it anymore.
That's ridiculous. Yeah.
The prices are out of control.
Why don't we start a fund?
Maybe.
I was going to start a community college fund, but you know what? Let's start a Disney fund.
Start a Disney fund. It's for everybody. For the community.
What? It's for the community.
It is.
It's just so sad.
Why not?
I know.
Everybody gets a guide. Everybody.
But honestly, I should be a guide. I really should be a guide.
Well, that's a good nervous breakdown job for you.
No,
get your steps.
Perfect.
Get your steps.
Get your steps.
This is my nervous breakdown job. So when you get a guide, when you arrive at each park,
yes,
there's someone waiting there with a wicker tray full of like Lara bars, Luna bars, and I want to hold that tray.
You know what? I really want to do? Because when they this is cutting deep, but when they give you the guide for Candlelight Processional, they give you VIP housing.
Oh,
so the housing is unbelievable. Okay, so we stay in like Yacht Club, or we stayed in like the Polynesian in the apartment where the Beatles broke up. Where they sang, yes, all the things.
The Beatles broke up at Disney World?
I know, go figure. Well, John Lennon was there with his family. Anyway, it was like standing, and I love it. He was like, oh, fuck it, I'm out. But in the nice, like fancy, you know, like there's club levels of hotels.
Right.
So they have, and my family always gets so excited about this because you'll have like a little breakfast spread. Not a big one, because it's like the club level. Like you're still expected to go to breakfast, but there's some like, you know, a little like croissants and whatever. And they come out throughout the day, and it tells you the times of the day. And every time my husband's like, are the desserts and cordials out yet? We always get excited. We're like, let's check out the desserts and cordials. Like, and we always get.
You were doing a service, a Candlelight Professional service, and you deserved all those desserts and cordials.
Cordial.
Yes.
I want a cordial.
It's
and
the
dessert.
Christmas season, damn it!
I want to eat fresh fruit with y'all in the morning.
You bet. You can come. We always have extra beds. I haven't done it for a long time.
But you gotta go.
I've got to go.
Why
again.
Not this year? I guess you're gonna be
because
busy.
Because of Mattress.
Huh?
No, believe me. Every year I'm like, oh my God.
Next year.
We went during COVID, and we all discovered we had COVID the last morning. Because obviously we got it. Because with Florida's, nobody was masked. It was like that weird little Omicron break. Okay, and as we landed at Orlando, I received 3 calls from the Department of Health from my son. Like, he has been exposed. I was like, no, everything's fine. We're going to Disneyland.
Have you been around a lot of Florida people?
And then literally everybody in Florida, no mask, nary a mask to be found.
Of course.
And then the last morning, and my mom, my old mom, had shared a room. I mean, granted, it was a big Disney room, so it was like 2 queen-size beds, and he was in one. But literally, my mom from the other room, she's like, what does 2 lines mean? And I was like, get in the car!
God, can you imagine?
What does 2 lines mean?
They're like all these public health officials taking sewage water from Orlando, going like, God, it's a lot of COVID and turkey legs.
Sam, I was like, Sam, my man, because we were all masked.
We're down bad.
I was like, sorry.
We're down bad.
But also, it was I'm not a good person. I got on the plane. I double masked everybody. I was like, no one even on the plane had a mask.
Sure.
So I was like, we're going home. I am not going to spend a week at Disney quarantined with a child.
No, you double masked it up.
We double masked and we got home.
We were also on vacation. Then we got COVID. Well, you had just had COVID.
Yes.
We thought we were in the clear, and then I got COVID gnarly in Mexico City.
Oh,
yeah,
lonely.
And I it was crazy because I was
in a hotel.
Well, in a hotel in Mexico City, and I was starting to feel a little weird, like 2 hours before we had to get on the plane.
Was this early or?
Well, I took a test, and it was like, and it said I was negative, but I was starting to feel weird, so I like triple masked it, and I got on the plane, and I went, but
you weren't sure you weren't sure if it was like some like a water that you drank or something.
It was. It could have been anything, and so I was like, I'm gonna test. And it said I was negative, masked up, got on the plane because
it's a bad feeling.
Then what was I going to do? Like, I would have had to be there for a week.
No, I think a lot of people did that, and that is why we had an epidemic. Anyway,
you're right.
Ever heard of Patient Zero?
That little girl was me. Let's move on.
We are really keeping it light. This post-election special.
We're using humor.
Post-election special. Title of that.
How does it feel to be on the post-election special?
Really painful. but happy.
Painful and harmful. This is I Don't Think So, Honey. This is our segment where we take 1 minute to rant and rail against something in culture that we don't love.
Yes. Do you have something? You'll go first?
I do have something. I do have something.
Okay. This is Matt Rogers. We all have something.
Yeah.
Very good. This is Matt Rogers, I Don't Think So, Honey. Time starts now.
I Don't Think So, Honey. So the Beatles song, the new song Now and Then, is nominated for Record of the Year. And the way that they got John Lennon's voice on it is by AIing his voice out. Like they had to bring his voice out, so they used AI on it to make it a real vocal.
I don't think so,
honey. I don't think so, honey. The AI like recreation of people that have been long dead. He's been dead for 40 plus years.
Yeah.
I don't think so, honey. The Whitney Houston holographic. I don't think so, honey. The Elvis holographic. These people actually can't consent to releasing music. And this is not just John Lennon. This is also George Harrison. And I get that his wife says, George would have been on board for this. I don't know what Yoko is saying, but I don't think so, honey.
Exactly.
If I ever die,
15 seconds.
No AI Las Culturistas. I'm telling you. I don't care how much money Bowen Yang needs because he's talking about pivoting to holding a wicker tray at Disney. I don't care how south his career goes. No AI Las Cultch after I am dead. No AI Beatles song now, especially not nominated for Record of the Year at the Grammys. Where was Ariana Grande?
Where was Ariana? And that's 1 minute. No way. Especially if it's gonna like suck up all the power that could be used to, power a small town.
That's another thing is like how harmful AI was for the environment.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah.
I'm really glad to know that.
It's a lot of water to cool down all of the whatever servers.
Like I never
like a hologram or AI voicing.
Well, AI
all of it, I
guess,
is part of it. Now it's all kind of blending together. It's like anything generative is AI, but for anything AI, it has to be derivative by default too. So it's like, I don't know. It's like it's literally, I don't know. Weirdly, I'm like about it because I'm like it will always be derivative by definition.
Correct. That's correct.
And so I'm like,
you're right. As a comedian, that's such a weird sort of almost constitutional stance, is that the right word? Like, what's the word?
Constitutional.
I don't know. I made
Trenchant.
it up. Trenchant. Is it constitutional? Like you have to take a big shit after you.
If it references your constitution.
Like people say, like let's take a constitutional. They mean like a gentle walk or a massive dump.
Let's take shits together.
Let's take
anyway,
a communal constitutional.
Your sort of comedians don't like people who copy them. There you go.
There you go.
No.
So there's like there's no worse. It's so trenchant that we've said this. There's no worse thing.
I don't know. The AI of it all, like because now I get really wary of people that are like, yeah, but about AI. I'm like, I don't think so.
No, there's no
really
reason
think
for
that
it.
overall.
I mean, maybe okay. Oops, I just did it. But medical research or like quick research.
Sure.
Oh, sure.
But isn't that just like a computer?
I'm just like,
yeah.
I don't want an AI operation, but I wouldn't mind somebody saying this cancer cure is this effective.
Based on your vitals. Like, absolutely. I'm just thinking like the everyday uses of it, people are still trying to figure out. Even Apple's kind of like,
I know.
You can write your emails with it, but
Not
it's like,
really.
I know how to write
an email.
Totally. We need to stigmatize this idea of like, if you need AI to write an email for you, get fucked. Like, read
by
a book.
the way, whatever happened to like plagiarism being bad? Like, no, you can't.
Truly.
You can't. I used to get in trouble for reading Cliff Notes back in the day. It's the same idea.
I'm just not a fan
Read the book.
I'm not a fan of anything that like, if we participate in it to enough of an extent, makes us lazier and dumber.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? It's
by the way, and that's like the Google Maps of it all. I don't know if you ever do this, but you just turn it off every blue moon and try to go somewhere.
Can't.
Also, it's a really important piece of the navigational piece of your brain affects other things you do in life. Yes. So if you don't want to just turn into a total,
rube.
Yeah. You like in LA, every blue moon, I will just not. It's so instinctive to just plug it in. If I'm driving, I'm like, right, I know how to drive there.
I haven't even thought about that. Like,
just
allowing myself to have enough respect for my navigational ability.
Exactly.
Because otherwise you do feel like a soul adrift in space, and it's like you're just being told where to go.
Think how easy it's like a bad like Blade Runner movie where we could all just be programmed to drive to the same place to be bombed.
God.
I went there.
Honestly.
Don't bring in the clown.
Okay, this.
I'm asked to leave. I've been asked to leave.
That was
no
too
one is
far.
asking her
It was
to leave.
too far.
You finally went there. You went too far.
Blade Runner and
Why'd you ever bring Blade Runner and Google Maps and a bomb?
This
Oh my God.
is Bowen Yang. Do you have anything you want?
I do.
You want to rail?
Yeah.
Okay, this
Lots of things.
is Bowen Yang's. I don't think so, honey. His time starts now.
I don't think so, honey. Putting little stickers over the hole in coffee cups that you're supposed to drink out of, because I gotta take the sticker off, and guess what? Now I'm drinking sticker juice instead of coffee, and now my lips are sticking together, and I go, no, I just want to enjoy my iced black coffee. That's it. I'm not asking for much. I just want iced coffee in a cup, and I understand that it's to prevent spillage, and I understand that you're taping over the bag so that there's no tampering, and it's all security theater. But sometimes I just want something without all this, literally all this red tape or this white circle of tape over my drink hole. I just want an unencumbered drink hole so I can sip, 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 suck, 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 guzzle, guzzle, guzzle the caffeine into my system, because I need it to get through this damn day in this damn year of this damn world. Get the sticker and the adhesive off my coffee. Otherwise, I'll be drinking
5 seconds.
epoxy, for God's sakes, when I just want a gorgeous cup of Dunkin' Donuts.
That's 1 minute.
Good timing.
Thank you.
That was great. I will also say you said so many words and didn't even touch on what I think is the most annoying part, which is when you have to peel the sticker off. Then you have stickery fingers on this part of your fingers.
Also,
very bad.
Part 2, see gravity.
Oh.
Like, this is higher. Why? We don't need it.
We don't need
It's not
that.
coming out much of the top. It's only spilling. Let me paint.
Yeah.
Which is a peeve of mine. It's only spilling if the fucker filled it too high.
Right.
So that it's coming out the sides. It's not
blame the
coming out the
fucker.
top. I blame that
Lid
little
culture.
barista shithead.
Lid culture is in a state of disarray. Like
Oh,
no
yeah.
one can figure
it's
out what
true.
lid to put on anything. Like, and sometimes it's like you go to a certain coffee place because you know they're not going crazy with
Right.
their
The lid.
lids,
Right.
and they'll have changed. Like I
Right.
don't know.
And you know what? I
it's
take it back.
crazy.
I love a barista, and I have a fondness to a
artists.
barista. They're
They're
artists,
clowns.
and I really love. I love coffee. I love coffee. I will never. I love coffee so much
Yes.
that I've actually had this thought. I'm not proud. If I went to prison, I'd be super sad because the coffee situation would be so bad.
Wait. What is the coffee situation?
I'm
in
sure it's
prison?
non-existent.
It's not great.
So I love. I will never. And I didn't give it up when I was pregnant. I didn't give it up. I will never, ever, ever give up coffee.
Should we start a fund for prison coffee?
Yes.
What would it be called?
Doesn't it sound terrible?
It doesn't sound good.
No.
What would the
Joe behind bars.
Joe behind bars?
Brews behind bars.
I don't know. Why is my brain going to "We did it, Joe"? We really didn't.
We did do it. We didn't do it.
We didn't do
We
it,
didn't
Joe,
do it.
at all.
We didn't
Joe,
do
we
it.
didn't.
Joe, what did you
It's
do?
Jover.
It is so Jover.
It's so Jover.
Well,
what's begun
Joe.
is now. Are you ready? Because this
Yes.
is your moment.
Okay.
Okay.
this is Anna Gasteyer's. I don't think so, honey. Her time starts now.
Okay. This is what? Are we starting now?
No, start
Sorry,
again.
sorry, I'm sorry,
Her
let's do it
time
again.
starts next.
Oh no. Oh, Kelly's gonna pass.
Okay,
Her
I'm sorry.
time starts next. Commercial break.
This is Anna Gasteyer's. I don't think so, honey. Her time starts now.
Okay, so my I don't think so, honey, is about TikToker POV videos.
They don't know what it
Okay.
means.
Instagrams. Nobody understands that it has to be an actual point of view
Yes.
that is something new.
Yes.
So here's what it has to be: a new take. It has to be observational. It has to be something that I haven't thought of that's a witty use of humor. For example, I just saw one that was POV. You get to the airport, find your gate, pee and get a snack. That's not a POV. That is just going to the airport and doing what people do when they
30
go to
seconds.
the airport. There's no pithy observation therein. That's not, oh my God, my dad got a dog. He didn't want it and now he's carrying it around in a baby Bjorn. I get it. That's a POV. That's funny. What's not a POV is POV, I took a shower before I went to work. What is wrong with people? You have to have some kind of a take. And if you're not doing that, you know what? Put your phone down and go to the airport
5 seconds.
and get a magazine and piss and get on your plane.
And if you open up Google Maps, you're dead.
And that's 1 minute. You know, I hate to break it to you, but I think that they know this and willfully aren't doing it, because I'll be shocked.
Oh.
Do something without your phone then. Just
Yeah.
live your life for 4 seconds just being a human.
I guess the thing is, though, they're more interested in virality than humanness.
Who is going to like or comment on POV? You
So
find
many
your
people.
gate and get
No.
a sandwich.
So many people. As I'm telling you, it's like when I have
on.
worked in like with social media people, if I ever had to do like a TikTok or stuff like for my album, I'll be shocked sometimes when you realize what's trending. It's like, hey, so you have to walk from here to here and this song is going to play.
You got on the elevator.
Yeah, but literally it's like,
no,
people
it's not a thing. POV, you're mailing a letter.
The appetite is for everyday mundanity.
Well, that's fine. But at least if you're going to be pithy about it, like, I don't mind something that's like, something, I don't know,
something new or
observational, like that. It's the Seinfeldian moment of it all, like of like, oh my God, you know, I don't know, like. I'm trying to.
But the POV thing is even so stupid because they don't understand what POV stands for.
No, they have no idea.
It's not from the first person point of view at all. It's just like POV, I'm going to the airport and then they're in the frame. You know what I mean? Like that's what these kids are doing too.
Right. And I don't.
I'm at the airport and then it's them.
POV, me with my friend. It's just me. POV, I'm hanging out with my friend. The friend isn't there.
Again, I'm just like, I don't mind. I really, you have to develop some semblance of an observation. If this is supposed to be funny or engaging in any way, like
this is my fear. This is my like almost like I'm gonna say like boomer take, which is like, oh, language is breaking down. Like no one knows how to communicate with each other, and therefore, and here we are. Whatever.
I mean, but that's also like secondary. All of the appification. I mean, of life. Yeah, exactly. Like we early on tried to like address phone usage with our kids or whatever, and everybody was like, the only way they communicate is to take an picture of themselves on Snap and send it to one another, nude or otherwise. But it's just, even like if there's courtship rituals, and my 16-year-old, no, you're right, absolutely right. Yeah. My 16-year-old, you'll see him do that, and you're like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I just snapped something. I have to snap my phone. Like there's no, hey, I'm at a restaurant with my folks, or like there's no, even texting is one iteration too boring and bloated for them.
But this has infiltrated being at dinner with your family. Like nothing is sacred anymore.
But also, this is why we are where we are. We are sheep.
Totally.
Did you see that Australia wants to do a ban on social media until the kids are 16?
Well, I think it's actually, this is boring to talk about to our audience, but no, I mean, I actually think it's coming. I really do believe the tide is turning, because that is actually a purple state issue. People across the board are understanding that attention spans aren't also the algorithm just screaming now what is this, a third election that we're just screaming at Facebook, like that's all we're doing. So into Instagram, or none of us are actually engaging or having conversations that are face to face or human to human, and it's not going to get any better.
Or with anyone that would challenge an opinion that you may have. I mean, I watched AOC's live like the day or two after the election. And
the Chandelier Day?
The Chandelier Day.
We'll call it the Chandelier Day.
Crashing Chandelier.
The Martha Day.
And the big pull, she said, she was like, sectarianism has to stop. Like, that's why I'm so kind of blown away by people being like, unfollow this person. If you follow me and you're this, I'm like, I understand where this comes from. But if you can't see the forest for the trees, that this is the problem, the fact that we were so shocked that it went that way, if you were shocked, like, that is because we are siloed off.
All of us.
From one another. And if we want to be a country, which I think is a question, it seems like.
Correct.
If we want to be a country, we cannot silo off.
We're in like an algorithmic echo chamber. Yes. All of us, like, get out of, except for to pop out and troll people. That's literally it.
Right.
Not me.
No, never Bowen.
No.
You aren't trolled, or you don't troll?
I'm not in an echo chamber.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He has incredible.
I'm outside, honey.
Okay, that's
I'm not
your thing.
indoors.
But that's because of it. I love it.
I'm kidding.
I love it. And you power down for 48 hours every week, right?
Yes.
Just for your mental health?
I'm looking at maps, paper.
He reaches across the aisle. It's why they call
old school AAA.
I miss those, honestly.
I do too.
A7.
They're pretty.
I
know.
So cute.
But I mean, even those little, we're all addicts. We're all addicts.
Thoughts on the Martha Stewart doc?
Oh my God, I loved it.
I loved it.
So
I
good.
loved
so
it,
great.
actually. I love her.
I think she'd be good on this show.
She'd be great on this show.
She would be great on this show. She, especially in her 6th chapter, is extraordinarily... She's enjoying all the things she's been through, and she's letting herself soften. I mean, I've known her now for ish. My impersonation was 30 years ago, or 28 or whatever, and she's always been a great spirit, like great sport and all that.
Jimmy Carter.
she's been Jimmy Carter. She allowed, even though she's not like a terrifically funny person, but she's very easy. She understood. She's a good business person.
Yes.
But mostly, I have to say, this is my 5th chapter take on her 8th chapter. 6th chapter is that for my 3rd chapter take on her 5th chapter. Right.
6th or 6th.
Is that it's interesting. What I love, she really is like, I don't know, there's something to be said for this, like old people wisdom.
Yeah.
Like you get your heart broken a lot in a life. And she kind of buckles down. I love that whole thing that she says about like, I don't want to deal with feelings all the time. Like I like guys that do stuff. I want to go places. I want to take in the world. Her boyfriend, Charles, that she had for a while, she was like, he's just a doer. Like we would do stuff. And I get that. Like there's so many, of course I validate feelings and of course I want, but there is a point at which we have to get up and put our shoes on and not POV, we're at the airport, but rather just go get the sandwich and pee and like have plans and do things
water
and
the
go
garden.
to Disney and water the garden and make a party and invite your friends over. And I don't know, there's just something very, granted she lives deeply within privilege, but I love that she's just she doesn't sleep at all.
Right.
That's a true thing about her. I know her assistant. And that's really true. She's never, all of her businesses were born of insomnia. That was early on. And the fact that she was doing crafts with those ladies in the prison and like working on the garden and like, she just is a doer. And there's something deeply inspirational to me about that.
That garden thing is what kind of cracked something open for me, where she was like, if you want to be married for a year, if you want to be happy for a year, get married. If you want to be happy for a decade, get a pet,
dog.
get a dog. If you want to be happy for a lifetime, get a garden.
Plant a garden.
And I'm like, oh, that's it.
Yeah.
Or any kind of garden, any size. You just have to do something.
Yeah, exactly.
Literally mold the earth with your hands.
And she's doing that every day in different ways. I mean, and she's, endlessly creative from a business standpoint, but also, let's just say, OG feminist, because she turned domestication on its ear and became a billionaire.
Yeah.
She somehow understood Purple State. Early on, people were very shitty, including me on SNL, about her selling that brand to Kmart. And she was like, why wouldn't people at Kmart want nice things? And she would say that on like Letterman. She'd be like, it makes total sense to me. I love that. I love that she, again, I mean, it's insane. Like when you look at like, whatever, let's have, Cornish hens for 100 in that catering company. It was insane. It was totally insane. I mean, you're just looking at her stuff like, what? That's impossible.
No,
but she was just making it happen. And then she was like, this is a business. And she's been very open-minded about lots of types of all kinds of people across our, culture.
Yeah.
I think she's great.
Her story about, I didn't realize that Andy Stewart, her husband, was so like that. But then that story about her in the cathedral, I know, so beautiful, but also so random. She was like, I got so overwhelmed by being in a cathedral that I made out with an Italian stranger. I love her though. That's such a gay guy thing.
I know. It really was. It was the
I found it deeply relatable. I mean, she was like, it wasn't cheating. I was in a basilica.
Yeah, no, the basilica is a you can't judge yourself.
Everybody's God in that space.
Yeah. Everybody's God. And that's what she really is. She's like an instrument of beauty. Like she loves beautiful things and she wants everyone to experience. I mean, and they are like, I don't know, like there's a big part of me that's like, it's so cheesy, but like Paris is my favorite city. And like I've gone and it's like, you're like, I just can't stand how every single thing here is
perfect. I'm
so happy. Like you vibrate with beauty.
And it reminds me of the Will and Harper thing where at the end, like he gets Harper those earrings. I know. It's like, it's okay to it's okay to like nice things.
That was beautiful.
It's okay to like lovely things.
I know.
And I'm like,
and it doesn't have to be the most expensive. Like that's what's so cool.
Garden. There you go.
Plant a garden.
Plant a garden, a flower, a vegetable, a fruit. It's a lovely thing that you made.
I know. And she was so cool when I was on Drew. She was so like, I mean, we quote unquote surprised her, which I was always like, again, more, it's just a nightmare because, it's not a person who loves a surprise. And she I did. And I'm like sailing in dressed as her. And she was so sweet. She kept like grabbing my hand and she was, ruining it by talking through the fourth wall. Like, oh, you look so much like me. And, but it was still like so charming. And she hugged me after and was, her assistant was like, it's so great to see you. We should do more together. It was just very, she gets it. She's always gotten it.
Totally.
We were mean on Saturday night and she always got it. Yep. Actually, everybody on SNL, Celine Dion, same thing. Mm-hmm. So graceful about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I, partially I think she thought I had a bad voice, which helped. But because she said that to me. She was like, she goes, your voice is so horrible to hear. Which I was like, this is a language barrier thing. I'm going to choose to believe this is a language barrier.
Horrible to me.
Your voice is so horrible to hear.
Okay, they're saying we got to wrap up, which means it's time to say one more time that you can see Once Upon a Mattress at the Amundsen in LA from December 10th to January 5th, and you should. And also, if you can catch it in the last, I guess, couple weeks on Broadway, do
November
that.
30th, yeah.
It really is. It's joyous. It's fun. Sugar and Booze, you better be streaming it and checking out the shows in the Midwest and in LA. What day on the
December 16th, one night only, yeah.
Love.
But mostly just listen to it because I did make it to bring people joy.
And
listen to it while you're wrapping your presents and you're shaking your drinks.
And you're shaking
and
your
you're
ass.
Having it and you're shaking your everything.
ass.
Yeah, shake and jiggle.
Shake that ass.
Shake that ass while you listen to Sugar and Booze. We are so happy you're here. This has been so much
You
fun.
guys are the best. Thank you for having me.
so
and
much.
my daughter and her fellow gays say thank you.
We say hi to
you're
all the
welcome and
gays
hello.
and the husbands and everybody out there. We want to say hello to you. And we end every episode with a song. Should we sing a holiday song? Because it's Christmas. Have yourself a merry little Christmas.
Let your heart
Be bright.
We'll work on it.
Wait, why didn't
Am I
we
allowed to
say?
sing?
Why didn't we say?
From now on. Why'd you start so high? Goddamn tenors.
See, this is the next,
We're not tenors.
This is the second time in a row or third time in a row that
Someone's
a
called
guest
us out
has
for our
clocked
key.
me for the key.
No, it's a nice. It's your song. It's your show.
And have
yourself a merry little Christmas now. Good. Yay! Las Cultch.
Las Culturistas is a production by Will Ferrell's Big Money Players and iHeartRadio podcasts.
Created and hosted by Matt Rogers and Bowen Yang. Executive produced by Anna Hosnier and Hans Sani.
Produced by Becca Ramos. Edited and mixed by Doug Babe and Monique Laborde.
And our music is by Henry Kaburski. Hey everybody, it's me, Matt Rogers, letting you know tickets are on sale now to see me on tour. The Prince of Christmas tour, that is. I'm doing my whole album, Have You Heard of Christmas, plus a lot more with the whole band all throughout December. Go to www.mattrogersofficial.com to see me in a city near you.